Welcome to the latest episode of this week's Acca, sponsored by Sky Bet Acca Freeze. I'm Tom, joined by Jake and Jimmy to deliver our selections. Now, this episode is slightly different with fixtures across Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll be taking a look at the selections we fancy, seeing if we can make any multiples, or like the last time we covered the cup fixtures, we could end up selecting just the one big prize team to back. Let us know your thoughts in the comments or through Sporting Live Football on our social media channels. And remember, keep it fun. Never bet more than you can afford. This podcast is 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly. It's Carabao Cup week then, but we're still doing a podcast. There's a few games in Sky Bet League 1 and League 2 as well to go at. Now, usually we say, and we spoke about this on Thursday when someone asked, we usually just stick to the Tuesday fixtures, right? Because there's more to go at. I think this week we're kind of going in not really knowing what to expect. Is that correct? Because I'm the same of, I don't really know what we're going to form. I think we're going to settle on Tuesday or Wednesday. We briefly discussed going cross days. I don't think that'll work. How have you found this? Do you think we can make something, anything on these midweek fixtures? It's a bit tricky this time around.
Yeah, it's very tricky. The slate's weird for the Carabao as well, because there's two games on Tuesday and two teams that I actually fancy on the Tuesday. And then on the Wednesday, there's probably more bigger prize teams that I fancy than favourites. So, yeah, it could well be a Tuesday if anybody's got anything from the EFL. But we'll dive into it. I mean, we don't have to settle on anything, really. It might just be a case of no bet being the best bet. But
shake hands and get out of town.
Yeah.
Jimmy? Talk to me about this fixture list. How have you found it?
It's been all right. I just think, as far as the podcast goes today, the only rule should be that there are no rules.
That's usually how we operate.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. To be honest, when we said we're doing a pod, I thought there'd be more games to go at, but there's not tons to go at, is there?
To be honest, when we said it last week, I thought, oh yeah, we'll be back Monday. And then I said it, looked at the fixture list and went, okay, fine. Last week's Acca, 2 wins, a draw, and a defeat. Jimmy's here, which means Wigan won.
Yep.
So that's a good sign. We know Wigan were one of the teams that won.
You know, though,
reputation intact.
I was resigned. It sounded like declaring bankruptcy. I was kind of looking forward to just starting fresh.
Starting again.
Yep. Writing everything off. But as far as the Acca is concerned, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
If there's ever a motto for anything, it's probably that, isn't it? Yeah. Accrington were the team who didn't win. Barnsley as well got a surprise.
You saw that coming,
or don't know.
Accrington.
We don't. Let's not reflect on it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Cardiff won.
I remember, really.
So that's all right.
Yeah.
So we're all right. Cardiff and Wigan, but yeah, tricky one. But we move on to the midweek fixtures then. Who wants to open us up and potentially take us somewhere? A nice starting point on this Acca. I know Tuesday's been mentioned there, so do you want to start looking at some Tuesday fixtures?
Yeah.
Look through the card, see what we think?
Yeah.
Jake, go on then. You touched on maybe one on Tuesday that you like, so I want to hear a first team.
Yeah, I think Middlesbrough are too big to win Exeter.
Ooh, is this not cup set territory?
I don't think so, not this time. Exeter, when they last upset, I think it was Luton in the last round, we were obviously on them. They were in good form. Their underlying data was solid. Looked like a team that were... Who had it? He's looked at the watch. 5 minutes.
Not even that.
But now they come into this game, they're completely bang out of form. They've lost 8 of the last 9 in all competitions. They've lost 6 of the last 7 in League One. And Borough, they were on a really good winning run. Just got beat by Stoke at the weekend. They'll be desperate to bounce back after that defeat and get back on that winning track. And let's not forget, they've already been to Bolton and Bradford away in the Carabao Cup and won this season. 2 potential cup sets, if you like, already. And come through them with flying colours. I just think that 4 to 5 price is way too big. I'd have them much shorter, personally. And I think this is a game they can definitely bounce back. And we're at the stage now where it starts to become serious for teams as well, where you win this, you're in the quarters. All of a sudden, you've got a really good chance of maybe getting to Wembley. You've got 2-legged semi-finals in this competition, so anything can happen there. So yeah, I think this is a game where Middlesbrough take it very seriously and pick up a win. 4 to 5, just too big.
You taking a Middlesbrough here at Exeter? I think since Exeter was it Exeter or Port Vale? One of them did the tweet, the hey, look at us. Who would have thought it?
Yeah,
that one.
Badly
since then, I think they've picked up about 3 points between them. It's not gone well whatsoever, and Port Vale are involved in the other cup game, so we might end up talking about them in a little bit. Jimmy, I want to hear your thoughts on this game. Did you have it down? Logic says it's a good price. My worry is it's the cup, but that's not Is that rational thing? I don't really know.
I'm with you, Duffman, to be honest. It's feeling in here.
Just
in my stomach,
feel it in your bones as well.
I want to just explain where you were pointing
feel it
there
in your
because people
bones.
listening might not understand.
My belly. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to go near Middlesbrough at the weekend because they were playing Stoke.
What's your rule on Stoke?
What? Just don't go near them.
Don't go near them.
Don't back them. Don't oppose them. Stay well away
Don't
from
go
Stoke.
to Stoke.
Yep. In every sense of the word. Lovely canals are there, though. Yeah, I don't know about this game, to be honest. I really don't know. I know Middlesbrough's been starting to get it together. I'm not sure if what Carrick's going to do here. I'm not sure if he's going to look to continue and build momentum after that minor setback against Stoke. The other thing is they played 3 games, and I watched a bit of the first game in this competition where it was ages ago against Huddersfield, and they laboured past them, aided by a red card. But I don't think we can be comparing the current Middlesbrough side to that one. So, in all honesty, I don't know what's going to happen in this game. Simply put, I was like you, though. I was put off because it's just at Exeter, and we was on the Exeter side in the last round. It just looks a bit of a treacherous one.
They were at Plymouth for the weekend, Middlesbrough, as well. I don't know how logistically they're going to work this.
Just say over.
But in theory, they're going to have to go back to Middlesbrough, right, rather than stay down south for obviously training and stuff like that. Does that not then make this more problematic on how you manage player loads with travel and stuff like that comes into it as well? It's good that this is on Tuesday, obviously Plymouth on Saturday as well, but that's a lot of travelling in the space of a week. And if you're as great as it would be and you never go to kind of throw a game and just go, it doesn't matter. But if you're prioritising one or the other, surely you're prioritising the Plymouth game at the weekend is the...
Rather than getting to a quarter-final of a cup?
Yeah, because...
Potentially drawing a big team at home and giving them an upset.
I think the priority, though, for Middlesbrough is surely just getting into the playoffs. And Plymouth's I don't know what they're like this season at home, but if you're prioritising one game, there's just a lot of travel in this week. And you
say a lot of
anxious
travelling,
of
like they'll
playing.
be flying, though. Like, it's a 40-minute flight.
Will they?
Yeah, of course they will.
Will they?
Yeah. I know that. I've spoken to the chairman.
No, I did. No, I'm not being a knobhead. I just wondered because I wondered the same thing about Sheffield Wednesday. I don't know what clubs do. And I think it's like a massive thing if they get the coach or if they fly or not.
Yeah, I think so. But I think
I can't say with confidence that they'll fly.
They're not going to take a 12-hour coach, are they?
They might do. I don't
They're
know.
not going to take a 12-hour coach.
I don't
Sleeper
know.
train.
Sleeper
Get
train.
one of those.
I'd love to get.
It'd be about 7-8 hours on the train as well, wouldn't it? Because you have to go into London and then out. So
And also you're waiting until the next day for the trains to start again. But I don't know. Talk to me about the other one.
Yeah,
I'll happily come
close
back to this.
Yeah, I'm just going to close. Exeter, like I said before, are in much worse form, much worse shape than they were when they caused the upset last time around, where we were obviously on them. And they were playing a Luton team that were bang out of form as well, that were really struggling. Middlesbrough, they've only lost once in the last 8 games. They've won the other 7. You know, they are a team that are red hot, that want to carry on that momentum, carry on that form. And if anything, I would see this as more of Exeter, maybe not throwing the towel in, but Exeter being the team that might take a little bit of foot off the gas, and we've seen their results in the other cup competition where clearly they don't really care about the EFL trophy, but they've lost 9-0 and 5-0 in their 2 games against Reading and Arsenal under 21s. Both of them have been at home as well, so you know, just saying, I wouldn't be surprised on that. And then the other game there, Mansfield, I do think Mansfield are a big price as well. 11-10 to beat Port Vale. As you mentioned, Port Vale were the other team.
Just before we move on, George, who's in the gallery on the other side, has just sent me a screenshot of Google Maps, and it takes, if we went right now from Middlesbrough to Exeter, not Exeter to Middlesbrough, it's gone the wrong way, 5 hours and 58 minutes. Or if you go via the A1M and the M5, it's 6 hours and 9 minutes. Drove, so it's not long, but long. Anyway, Mansfield. I think if we were going to pick, and you asked us, would you rather take Middlesbrough away Exeter, or would you rather take Mansfield at home to Port Vale? I think I know where we're all going. Unless Jimmy's unpredictable, so I'm not too sure.
Well, I mean, Jimmy did. You did a Mansfield preview for us earlier in the season, didn't you? In the cup, and basically highlighted Clough's record in cup competitions. He just absolutely loves him. Like, he loves a cup run. And do you know Mansfield are the only team unbeaten across all matches in England this season?
No,
every team.
Not true.
Who else?
I read it in the non-league paper last night. There's a National League Premier Southern team who have won all of the games.
How far down?
Can we cut off, say...
Well, you said all of England.
Top 5 tiers.
Top 5 tiers, okay.
There you go, you've covered yourself.
Yeah, Mansfield basically are flying. And as you mentioned, that tweet from Port Vale or Exeter, we don't know which one it was, They've lost 6 of the last 8, which is poor. Their only win in that time has come against the team Sutton, bottom of League 2, and obviously lost to Cheltenham at the weekend, who we know aren't a very, very good side. So yeah, 11-10 about Mansfield at home, a team that we can generally rely on being good in cup competitions, taking it seriously. I think I like them.
Even money you can get on Mansfield on Sky Bet at the time of recording. That's what I'm looking at. So that's kind of the price we're looking at. Is basically an even money odds against shout on this one. I have no issue. I touched upon before we recorded that I have a treble that I really like on Tuesday, and I would happily back that treble as it is. Mansfield to beat Port Vale were one of the teams on that because, as we've touched upon there, I think their only win in the last 7 was not even technically a win. It was a draw. They beat Newcastle's under-21s in the trophy. That was a win on pens, and Mansfield's still unbeaten. So all the reasons I've said there, I have absolutely no issue in backing Mansfield in any sort of accumulator-based thing that we have for the Tuesday midweek action, unless Jimmy, who I doubt it because of the cloth factor, is going to say otherwise.
Sorry, I weren't listening then. I was looking for that unbeaten side.
No worries. Would you take Mansfield to beat Port Vale's a question?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, brilliant. Don't need to add any more on that. I think, what we'll do is we'll kind of make a note of these teams and at the end exactly decide what we want to go on.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say, rather than saying we're definitely going to have this in an Acca, we're going to do this? For the EFL Cup action, though, the Carabao Cup action, I should say, on Tuesday, we like Mansfield to beat Port Vale. One person likes Middlesbrough to beat Exeter.
That's me.
The other 2 are working on logistics and not too sure. I think we're all in agreement on that, aren't we?
Yeah.
Would you like a quiz question before we move on to the rest of the action?
Yes, please.
Because I know you enjoy it so much, and I thought, it's the Carabao Cup this week. How could I get a Carabao Cup related question into the podcast? And it's a simple one. Which 2 players have won the League Cup the most times? That's it. There are 2 players who have won the League Cup the most times in the competition's history. And I just want you to tell me who those 2 are.
Right now?
You can have till the end of the episode. I'll give you some clues, starting of which both players have won the continental title with their country or countries. So there you go. So they've won the League Cup the most times, and they are, with their country, the continental title, the main.
So that's playing for the national team.
The national team.
Yeah.
In what would be, the Euros, AFCON, Copa America, that sort of tournament. They've both won it. Okay. There you go. Just think about that. I'll give you more clues throughout the podcast, and we'll look at the rest of Tuesday's fixtures, I think, next. So there are 4 games in Sky Bet League 1. There is the single game in Sky Bet League 2 as well. Any fixtures here that are jumping out to you at the moment? Because there are a couple that I like the look of. I will start, actually, as I haven't started a section yet. Are Wickham a good price, do you think, around 7-10 marker to beat Cambridge? I like the look of this as an Acca pick. I was looking into this. Cambridge's only away win of the season was at Fleetwood, when they're obviously having their issues so far. And while Wickham are winless in 3, they've been to Bolton, or they've played Bolton, Oxford and Peterborough, I think, are the 3 in that one. That's an incredibly tough run of games. 3 teams in the top 4. And against teams below them, they have performed generally. They lost to Charlton, they lost to Exeter, I should say. That's when both of those teams were kind of in a good moment at that point. I like this as an Acca pick, to be brutally honest. I think it's a fair price on it. And yeah, if I was making a Tuesday Acca of the League 1 fixtures, this is probably the one selection of those 4 that stands out to me, unless anyone wants to say otherwise on this game.
Yeah, I'd like to take you around houses a bit, to be honest, because Cambridge drew against Portsmouth, didn't they? Like last midweek, a week ago. And then Mark Bonner come out and he said he wants his squad, his side, to play like that every game, just to galvanise that fighting spirit. And I feel like they did that against Carlisle. They beat them 1-0, and there was leading before the 2 red cards. Jack Armour got a second yellow, and then have you seen Alfie McCalmont sent red card?
I have not seen this one, no.
Kung Fu kick-esque. It was really high. And he looked absolutely appalled when he got the red card. He was like, what, me? What did I do? Yeah, like,
it's best when footballers do that, isn't it? Going, And they'll do the look around like, is that me you're sending off? Yeah, you, the one that did the assault.
You, who's just committed GBH over there. Yeah. But, so I have my slight reservations about taking on Cambridge, but on the other side, I was looking at this game, and Wycombe do look kind of they look kind of good. Like you said, the three sides that they've struggled against are the three of the best in the division. Yeah. They're also one of the best sides at set pieces, and they're coming up against Cambridge, who are one of the worst. And it's those type of margins that really interest me at this level. On the back of that, Richard Keown 14-1 to score tomorrow, if anyone's that way inclined. So I ain't got strong opinions either way. The thing about Mark Bonner's side rallying a little bit since that point against Portsmouth, the best side in the division, does scare me a little bit though. But happy to go with the flow.
I think though with Carlisle, who we spoke about a lot,
rubbish.
I don't think. Yeah, meh. You just shrug. Yeah, beat Carlisle.
Yeah.
Cool, well done.
Yeah. Exactly.
At home was it as well. Again, I know they were leading, but it was eventually against 9 men and stuff like that. And I think, first half, not too much happened in that one anyway. I like it as it is one of the three that I mentioned, to make up a potential Tuesday treble. I think it's just a good price.
I like
price,
it.
I should say.
I mean, on you, in with you as well. I think you mentioned they played 3 tough teams. They've come away with 2 points. It's not like they've been beaten comfortably in all occasions, and they've scored twice in all 3 as well, which I think is a real positive sign for a team that was struggling to create chances at the start of the season. So the fact that they're now looking at they're generating opportunities of scoring goals, playing against a Cambridge team who don't do a lot of that themselves, especially when travelling. I mean, they scored just 4 times in 6 away games this season. Cambridge, the last away game was a 1-0 defeat to Cheltenham, who we all know. They were the team where Cheltenham managed to break the duck and get a result. Well done. So yeah, that is a bit of a concern for Cambridge, especially ahead of this away game. And I think Wycombe will start to make the home ground a bit of a fortress, pick up quite a few points and quite a lot of wins. I know they did us a favour a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, I'm with you. I think that price is a bit too big.
If you want a comparison point, would you take Wycombe to beat Cambridge at 7-10, or would you take Derby to beat Northampton 8-15?
Yeah, you're right. Correct. What a brilliant point that is, Duffman. Wycombe, please.
Thank you. Any others kind of on that fixture list that we want to talk about?
Yeah, no notes, but Wigan again, big price. Lincoln potentially as well.
Yeah, Charlton back-to-back defeats now, haven't they? Yep. They had a really good start under Appleton, but it's not dropped off a little bit, but you know what I mean, that it is back-to-back. Mm-hmm. And it's big price on Wigan, I think. We've touched upon them without trying to talk too much, but for the reasons that we said on Saturday, they then beat a poor Shrewsbury side fairly comfortably, aided by an early
red card, of course.
Red card, but they still won the game. Yeah, I'd have kind of no issue in touching on that one.
Yeah, I think the price is too big. I agree with you on that.
It's a good single, to be fair, this one as well, if you wanted to. If you weren't too comfortable making up an accumulator, it's a pretty big price, this, on that game.
For sure, yeah. They do look like a team, Wigan, that... they look, 3 clean sheets in a row. It's no coincidence. I think they've turned a little bit of a corner, tried to tighten it up a little bit, and they've kept... I guess you could say Oxford are a very good team. They've kept them at arm's length when they played at home, just 0.6 expected goals. So huge positives there. And it's just a case of what Charlton team you're going to get on the day.
Yeah, I had no notes for this game. I've just gone on Soccer Base and clicked Charlton's away form. They haven't won away this season. Did you know? I didn't know.
Didn't know either.
Yeah, 2 draws, the rest defeats.
Only Reading have got a worse away record in the league.
It's got to count for something. And we spoke about on Saturday how Wigan are literally in a false position, aren't they, because of the points deduction. They would be way higher up, and it's almost as if they're not priced as if they had. Do you know what I mean? As if they're not priced on performances, they're priced on the league position, which is false. Everyone knows it's false because they've literally had a deduction. So I think they look large.
If I add on, just to go back to the point made again. So if you add on Wigan's 8 points, a very simplistic way of doing it, they'd have 22. They'd be sat 8th. 8th. Basically, in about 8th or 9th based on goal difference. So that's exactly there. Jim Rod, I'm going to ask you on this one because you love a big priced punt. Are you taking Northampton at Derby? Would you gamble on Northampton at Derby?
I had a feeling you had something in this game.
I'm not huge on it, but no. I will say, knowing what Derby have been like this season, seeing the reaction to the weekend, the kind of Paul Warne questions that are coming around at the moment, Northampton aren't a great side. I'm not saying they're the world's best team, but is it not just worth taking on a team in a really bad place at the moment as a single at near 5-1? That's a huge price.
It is
for a game of football. Is it worth just a little go on that as a single? Because Derby are in a bad place at the moment.
And the Pride Park faithful are not a happy bunch, are they?
No.
One of them where you could easily see it turning sour very early on if the Rams don't hit the ground running. But the only thing putting me off is Northampton could win, but they could draw. And they also could lose as well.
They could,
couldn't they? So,
yeah. I think what you've got to do there, you've got to cover all bases, haven't you, in that one?
What I would say is that Derby are too short to go in an Acca for me. You can't trust them at that price.
I also think it's
Northampton
Derby. You could give me any price on Derby
Yeah.
County this season.
This is a Northampton team that they've lost 5 of their 7 away games. The wins have come at Cheltenham and Exeter. What I would say, if I was to have a punt in this one, it would be Northampton looking at maybe the Asian handicap, because even their 5 defeats, they've all come by a single goal. So they're not being absolutely hammered when they've played away from home. So it might be an occasion where, you get Northampton on side with a couple of goals, depending on the prices. But yeah, I don't know. I could see Derby winning this, but I don't see any value in it.
Before we move on to Wednesday, can I make my big claim for the treble?
yes,
Go on.
please.
Work it out logically, because we've ran out of games, really, at this point. If we have Mansfield and Wickham on Tuesday, you have a 12-5 double. If you go into Sky Bet League 2 and look at the only game taking
Morecambe
place,
up,
and you put Morecambe in at 11-4, you've got a treble just shy of 12-1. Now, the one worry, Barrow draw a lot of games. Okay, that's a slight worry, but
They're unbeaten at home this season.
with a risk in this, there's been a lot of draws in that run.
Good teams though. Notts County, they played
You can
Wrexham.
take a risk at the prices available for the treble to boost it up massively. Morecambe have won their last 4. They're unbeaten in their last 7, I think. 5 of those have been wins in the league. And I've spoke about Morecambe's home form a few times. That's why we've looked at them in the past. We put them up at the weekend. But they've won the last 3, I think it is, away in the league as well. They're in a really good place at the moment. They are not a team or playing like a team at the moment who are near 3-1 to win a game. They were a huge price at the weekend and absolutely eased into that victory, didn't they, really, on the scoreline? I love this price, and I love just, with 2 other results I like, this is 3 teams that you get near 12-1. It just doesn't look right to me. It does not look right to me, this Morecambe price. I will caveat, actually, that there is going to be a bit of a tifo going on at Barrow. Have you seen this? They're all chipping in. It's going to be really scary. So if you're a Morecambe, stay safe if you're the Morecambe fans going up there. This could be scary. It's a Halloween scare fest is what they're aiming at. You've seen, much like, the Trotters van, whereas, New York, yada, yada, all Paris and all that, Peckham. It's basically, they've got that, Dortmund. They've got your Marseille, Barrow. This is what we're aiming for. It just sends chills down your spine. So that's the only thing that could work in Barrow's favour potentially. I want Morecambe in anything again for Tuesday. This would be a brilliant treble.
I don't like it. I think that you're probably right in terms of being a value price, but going just saying that they've won 3 of the last 3 away games. I mean, have you seen who they've played? They played Forest Green, Colchester, and Sutton, like 3 of the bottom 5. It's like couldn't get an easy. They're basically
and they
layups.
beat their brains out.
They didn't. They 2-1 at Forest Green, 3-2 at Sutton.
And Morecambe beat their stupid brains out.
And as I said, Barrow unbeaten at home this season. So I don't,
the draws though.
for me, it'd be a single. It'd be a Morecambe draw no bet single. That's right. That's how I'd play this game.
I'm going to make it. I'm going to do the treble on the Tuesday. Even if we don't officially make it the treble, I'm going to back this. I like it a lot.
You got any thoughts on the
Rod,
Morecambe?
anything to add?
I was just agreeing with Duffman, and then you made some good points, and then I started agreeing with you. But then Duffman spoke last, so for that reason,
You're very easily
I agree with him.
influenced, aren't you? This is the problem. Let's look at Barrow's home results, because I just don't care. I'm focusing on Morecambe, to be brutally honest. Barrow's home results.
Yeah, that 0-0 draw with Salford, they did well to nullify a team very much on the up, didn't they, at the weekend? Matt Smith, top goal scorer, kept him quiet.
Yeah, and they drew with Wrexham, Notts County, Wimbledon, 3 of the top 8.
You can't be unbeaten at home forever, though. You will lose eventually.
Shit, that's a great point.
Yeah.
All right, get him in.
This is philosophy 101. You can't carry on forever. Change does happen.
Who's in your little treble?
Excluding
Morecambe. Who's the other 2? Wickham.
Wickham, Mansfield, Morecambe.
I don't. Oh,
That's like 12 to 1-ish, that treble.
I don't know if I
That's
rather.
a good treble.
Would you not rather Wigan and then make it 3 home teams, and it'll boost it?
Hang on.
Do you know what I mean?
Or you can get just above 8-1 on that treble. I like that treble as well. I'll tell you what, if you had those and Morecambe as a fourfold, that's 33-1. I like that fourfold.
Or we could take Mansfield.
If we had Northampton, it's 200-1.
No,
I like that
getting a bit
fivefold.
silly.
11-2 for Mansfield, Middlesbrough, Wickham is what I probably would be backing on the Tuesday.
We're gonna settle on. I could see this ended up being a double of Mansfield Wickham, and we all move on with life. But there are some there. So yeah, as you say, they're decent treble on that. If you had the Wigan with those two, it's just above 8-1. If you take the Morecambe one, it's just shy of 12-1. Some games to think about. We'll come back to that. See if we want to make anything kind of official to boost a little later on.
Yeah.
Should we talk Wednesday games next?
Yes, please.
Right. Before we do that, I'm going to go back to my question for you. Which two players have won the League Cup the most times? They've both won the continental title with their country. They've both won the UEFA Cup / Europa League, but they've never won the Champions League. There's your two things there.
I'll write one down, I think.
Yeah, so there are two players. If you think logically of two players who would win it,
That's
a
one of my
team who
first
have
guesses.
won a lot. So yeah, just think about that. Think about that during this ad break as well. We'll touch on Wednesday's games next.
One thing we've all got in common is having that one leg of an Acca let us down. From spending your winnings in your head to cursing that last-minute equaliser that broke your heart. But it doesn't have to be that way. Acca Freeze from Sky Bet gives you the power to freeze a winning score early. Even if that team goes on to lose, Sky Bet will settle it as a winner. It's time to take action. It's time to Acca Freeze and end the game your way. Visit skybet.com for full terms and conditions.
So on to the Wednesday games then. There are 6 Carabao Cup games to get stuck into. There's a League One game as well. There's some Scottish Prems, Spanish Copa del Rey. Jesus Christ, there's a lot of Copa del Rey. DFB Pokal, if you're that way inclined as well, to go on to the continent for their cup action. I'll be honest, there's maybe one game that I kind of half like the look of in this one, but
No, you like it. I know I like it. So we're going to start at Old Trafford then?
no, but carry on. Carry on.
Read that completely
Come on,
wrong.
Jim.
Yeah,
You're on a
you've
roll.
completely messed this up, but this is what I'm happy to kind of just sit out Wednesday. I'm not too fussed by any of them, being brutally honest, so I'll let you two talk away. Take it away.
It for me, I don't know about you, but it just seemed to
Crack
make
open
a
a
lot of
can.
sense.
And
Yeah, there's a few bigger prices on Wednesday I'd quite like getting involved in. But go on, you're
No, it's
excited to stick into Old Trafford.
I just thought we were all on the same wavelength. Yeah, Newcastle at Old Trafford, you can get them 5-2. It just seems too simple, ever so simple. I'm going to be a bit braver, I think, and take a -1 Asian handicap. Big old
Newcastle?
price. Yeah.
Lord.
No?
Price we're talking?
It was over 6-1. When
I mean, they're 12-5. They're nearly 5-2 just to win the game. You just take that, move on.
Yep.
Yeah, but I want more.
Yeah, I'll carry on.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not
I
too
mean-
fussed by Wednesday.
It's all kind of falling apart again at Old Trafford, isn't it? It seems to be a never-ending circle. The sack manager have one good season where they overperform according to the underlying data. That's your second mention, and then it all comes crashing down.
I'm going to get a bell. Yeah,
Ding,
just
ding.
a bit there. And just
Yeah, and it all comes crashing down. I mean, they've got a thin squad at the moment, a lot of injuries. The defence is just a shambles at the minute in terms of the fact that, well, you're playing Johnny Evans at centre half.
So strange.
Weird, wasn't it?
What was it? What was that about?
tactical
I
reasons.
understand.
Tactical.
I've read a quote this morning, and he basically said that he didn't want to play Varane and Maguire because if he plays Varane and Maguire doesn't like playing on the left. He's better playing the ball from the right, and he would just kick it long. And I'm like, well, you've got Rasmus Højlund. Like, surely he can hold the ball up a little bit, play a bit more direct. But yeah, and then the fact that he's playing Lindelof a right-footed centre half at left back over Reguilon, who's a left back, didn't make sense. But yeah, the home record in general for United is just really concerning. And there's a tweet that did the rounds yesterday that United have lost more Premier League home games, as many Premier League home games since Sir Alex Ferguson retired than they did under Sir Alex Ferguson's entire reign as Manchester United boss.
It's about half the time as well, isn't it, since then? Or
Yeah.
well, less than that now, actually.
Exactly.
10 years or whatever.
So, yeah, they've lost 7 of 14 in general this season, lost 4 of the last 7 at home, and they conceded 4.5 expected goals in that game against Manchester City, which is just ridiculous. But they're not so ridiculous when you look at the defensive lineup and the shape they ended up playing. Yeah, Newcastle, I know they got held by Wolves. Their away form's not been, nothing home to write home about. But They look good. The underlying data continues to be good for Newcastle away from home. They're unfortunate to draw with West Ham. The Wolves game was a weird one because they out-created Wolves, even though on the eye test it looks as though Wolves were the better team on the day. But yeah, I just think Newcastle, they'll probably want a bit of revenge as well, Jim, because Man United beat Newcastle in the final of this competition last year, so that could be on the cards. I'm all for backing Newcastle, whether it's backing them to win the game in 90 minutes or just to qualify, which you still get a big prize for, is the debate.
Yeah, worth a mention that actually, because up until the semis, we were talking about it earlier, it goes straight to penalties. So
Yeah.
You're getting 13-10 on Newcastle to qualify, which does look big as well.
I enjoyed the debate between Neville and Carragher afterwards. You know, did you see this on Sky? It's a weird one where both pundits were right. It's a very rare argument where they're both going, yeah, I think you're both correct in this way, although you could say that about any game for Manchester United in the last 18 months. Would you, if you were... Because I was thinking of this yesterday. If you were the people calling the shots at Old Trafford, do you sack Eric Ten Hag now?
get Warnock in.
But like, what's he building? There's this whole rebuilds take time. Rebuilds don't typically start. You don't build a wall and then go, let's put some nice foundation in there. All right, well, won a cup, whatever that is in building a wall. All right, the wall's about a third of the way up. I don't like this wall anymore. I'm just going to smash it to It's basically how I think we're going here.
No, that's how you build walls. I can tell you haven't
I'll be
built
honest,
many
I'm
in your
not
time.
a handyman builder type, but do you get rid of him? I just, what's the direction? What are they doing? Nobody knows what they're doing. He's falling out with players left, right and centre. What's he bringing to the table at this club? Because it's not winning and it's not a good mentality.
I can tell you what he's brought to the table.
It's not even vibes.
He's funding the Eredivisie.
Yeah,
is what he's brought to the table. Buy all the
He's
players.
probably the
that
worst
played
transfer in Premier League history as well.
Yeah,
So,
but that's an ongoing problem at United. It's happened 3 or 4 managers now where they've just been given license to buy who they want, which is not how you run a football club nowadays. You need more of a succession planning in place because what happens if you get into this rut and then you sack Eric Ten Hag, then you brought another manager in and you've got Mourinho players, you've got Ten Hag players, you've got Solskjaer players, and you're trying to make a squad and a team out of that.
would you sack him now then?
No, I don't think I would.
How long would you give him if you didn't?
End of the season. Give him the end of the season. We've not seen him this season with his new approach, with his new players. We've not seen a full complement where they've all been fully fit. There's been loads of issues, loads of injury issues, loads of off-field issues. I think he's deserved a bit more time to be able to try and get that team going once they're all fit.
Sporting director Jim Rod, what are we saying? Can or no can?
Oh, that's the question, isn't it? They just...
Which I'd like you to answer.
Well, it's a brilliant question and brilliantly asked, may I style you, Duff man? And I'm not at all biding my time here because I've got an answer for that question, which will be coming imminently. I just thought it was the decisions tactically he made at the weekend was strange, and it struck me as a man who's feeling the pressure, and he's put all his eggs in this Eredivisie basket, and I don't think he's made one good signing from his homeland. I don't think one's paid off, and paid way over the odds for most of them. So I get him gone.
To his credit, he did keep Ajax up, as it turns out. So actually, he's not too bad. Back to the actual action. We said Newcastle there. The one I'd potentially look at Everton at home to Burnley.
11-10.
Yeah, that I like Everton. I think they obviously won at the weekend, didn't they? I don't think they're as bad as we maybe thought they would be this season.
I think they're bad. They are in a position. Everton are now in a position where they're starting to pick up results on a regular basis. Where they're maybe not, a relegation might still be a thought, but not as much as it would have been 3-4 games ago. So a cup run could well be on the cards. And Burnley are the opposite, aren't they? Burnley
Burnley are pants.
There you go. Yeah, that's the technical term.
Do you know the thing with Dyches at Everton? I'm just trying to load the fixtures, but it strikes me as like he'll still be keen to play his big hitters and continue this momentum. I don't know it's loaded, so with the international break is on the horizon.
Research as it goes on.
Well, I'm just looking. They've got 3 games until the next international break, so I think he'll be keen to keep Calvert-Lewin in the side, getting more minutes. So I think he will go strong. Burnley, on the other hand,
He's Beto that comes in, isn't it? If it's not Calvert-Lewin, is he fit?
yeah.
And he looks. I really like the look of him already.
Well, we said a couple of weeks ago the turning point was when he came on at half time against Doncaster, weren't it?
Yeah.
No coincidence.
It was so poor that game.
they got a vocal point, and it seemed to sort of slowly click for him. So, yeah, I have no objections to Everton at Burnley.
Any other games you want to discuss before we kind of wrap things up and decide how we're approaching this? Because the fixture list is iffy. I think I know who you're going to say.
I really like Arsenal.
Oh, I didn't think that.
I really like Arsenal.
Surprising each other.
7-5 away at West Ham. West Ham obviously started the season well, but since then they've just gone back to looking like the team that finished in the bottom half last year.
West Ham in the cup.
Really struggled. They looked tired and toothless against Everton. Lost 3 straight, but worryingly the defence is just all over the place at the minute. They conceded over 2 expected goals per game in the Premier League. And Arsenal, the thing that they got beat over the head with last year was, yes, you nearly won the Premier League, but you won nothing other than that. Manchester United finished 3rd, won a trophy. Did they have a better season than Arsenal? That debate. They need to win something, and this looks a great opportunity to do it because Man City are already out of the competition, who have generally been their kryptonite over the last few years. Man United or Newcastle, one of them's going to go. Spurs are already out. They went to Brentford and won. They put out a fairly strong team and won that game. And their away form's been pretty good in general this season, Arsenal. Players back from injury. So the squad is a bit stronger. It means they can rotate and it doesn't weaken them too much. And they don't have to travel far, which is always a positive for these midweek fixtures.
How are they going to get there, though? Are they going to get the coach?
That is the question. Are they going to drive themselves? I don't know.
Share an Uber.
I think 7-5, I think, is a big price for Arsenal, who I think are in that calibre of Manchester City. If this was Man City at West Ham, we wouldn't be getting this price.
I don't mind it, me.
It's a bit unusual, but I do like it. But I think you talked a lot of crap then when you were...
Cheers, mate.
They didn't... Who cares that they didn't win out last season? I know it was a bit of a flavour of the month in the media, but anyone with half a brain cell knew that they were taking huge steps forward last season.
Yeah, I know, but you've got to win something.
No, he doesn't.
Man United won something last year.
Yeah, exactly.
That means nothing though now, does
Arsenal
it?
don't need to win something.
Would you rather be Arsenal or Man United now?
Obviously Arsenal, but
thank you.
The point
you can't
is,
just go.
How are you going to
trophy?
How are you going to get yourself over the line in later on in the season to win a Premier League if you've never won anything before? You've got to have something tangible to show for your success. You can't just be like, oh yeah, we finished second, we chased Man City down. That's not success.
They won the FA Cup first year under Arteta, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
When was that?
Every year.
About 4 years ago.
Community Shield as well this summer, babe.
That don't count as a competition.
Okay,
Yeah,
guys.
it does. It does when it counts when we're arguing for it.
Yep.
The Community Shield is the
It's one of them I pick up when I
the
need
Joker
it.
card, isn't it? In
Yeah.
any football-based argument when you're talking trophies, it counts when you want it to count. It doesn't count when you don't.
Did they win the Emirates Cup this year as well? I think they did. So that's 2 trophies then.
Probably, yeah.
So go on, finish what you're saying.
Yeah, but couldn't agree with you more.
Yes.
You've talked a lot of bollocks, but I couldn't agree with you more. I'll take it.
I just found the point about needing to win a trophy, I just don't agree with that at all.
So you think that if they went trophyless again this year, it'd be a successful season?
It depends how they finished in the,
If
the
the
league.
Premier League went to that last week of the season,
Yeah.
I don't think they care that
I
they didn't win the
think-
Carabao Cup. They
Yeah.
get far in the Champions League because they've got a nice group, which obviously has been a defeat away in France, but a group that hilariously is the most Europa League looking group on their return to the
Actually.
Champions League. They could get potentially pretty far in that, given the fact they're going to top a group, likely to.
Yeah, I have no doubt that Arsenal are going to go a step further than last season in terms of points and how far they get in competitions, because the most telling thing was they got grilled last season for over-celebrating, and it used to do my head in watching them go crackers after a win in like this time of year last season. But after Stamford Bridge, when they got it back from 2-0 down, they said it was silent in the away dressing room, which I just think tells you about the rise in expectations at the club. And I have no doubt that this young squad's growing in stature, in especially psychologically. So yeah, a lot of waffle there. Arsenal, good price though. I agree with you.
Gone a long way round there.
The only other one I had down was Ipswich at home.
That's the one I thought you were going to say before.
Me too.
I do think, obviously, it's a great opportunity for Fulham. It's a great opportunity for Ipswich. Ipswich are just a winning machine at the moment. Won every game at home bar one, which you'll know who beat them.
Oh, yeah.
The mighty Leeds.
4-3.
Yep. And they beat Wolves in the Carabao. I do think it's interesting Fulham actually play as the early Saturday game. Similar to Man United, actually, which we didn't mention in the Man United Newcastle section. United actually have a 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. Newcastle plays the 5:30, so there's a bit extra rest time. Yeah, Fulham, 1 win away from home this season. They're struggling to create and score goals, just 1.1 expected goals for per game. Their top scorer so far this season has got 2 goals. It's João Palhinha and Bobby De Cordova-Reid.
What a player he is, though.
Their attacking issues are summed up by that, basically. So I do think 2-1 is a juicy price for Ipswich.
Didn't Ipswich just put their reserves out last?
Yeah, they
round of
sure
Wolves?
did.
Was it Wolves? They just
Me
put their
too.
reserves out.
Yeah.
So I was looking at this. If you want a good factor of just how good Leicester and Ipswich have been, Leeds is 25 points. So Leeds are currently third in the table with 25 points, which is a really good return at this stage. They are 9 points behind Ipswich,
Who have a game in hand
who have a game in hand over them.
at Rotherham.
25 points last season. At this stage, would have put you top level with Burnley.
It's mental.
In previous seasons, you look back at 2020-21, that would have also had you just 3 points behind the leaders at the top of the table, 19-20, which is when Leeds last won it. They had 25 points of that. It would have been 2 points away. So usually at this stage, that tally would have you maybe top of the league second, and they are miles away from Leicester and Ipswich.
Blown it
It
out the
shows
water.
just what a winning machine Ipswich are at the moment.
I don't think they make too many changes this time either, because they're 1 game away from a quarter final.
Got not a great amount of squad depth though, have they, Ipswich? Which, if the one thing is going to catch them that Leeds and Leicester have that they don't,
Yeah.
the depth isn't as vast as it is at those ones. So you have to be very careful how you manage a squad here. Could just throw this.
I mean, the counter argument to this is that if they're in that position and they're still 9-10 points clear come January, they will strengthen that squad, and then that becomes a moot debate, because if they looks like they're going to be Premier League bound, they might as well just solidify it. But go on, you were going to say something about Ipswich Fulham.
Can't remember.
Right, let's move on.
I did
then.
agree with you though about the lack of depth. I've got the Ipswich win down. Ipswich and both teams to score might be worth something a bit longer. You can also get Ipswich to score 3. Something that you'd have to go. The last time they failed to do that was mid-August. They've scored at least 2 in all their home games this season. You get that around 9-2. Just think it's a really interesting game, even if they do rotate. Yeah.
Excellent. I think we've discussed pretty much all the action there. We will settle on one very shortly. Before we do that, I want my quiz question answered. You've got some clues. I'll give you some more clues to round it off. The question was, which 2 players have won the League Cup the most times? Both players have won the continental title with their country, or countries. There's one for you there. They've both won the UEFA Cup, Europa League, but never the Champions League. Both players have won the goal of the season competition at the club they were at.
Of the season.
Goal of the season at the club they were at.
Oh.
So there's your clue. They were at the same club.
Yeah, Man City.
Hey, we're on to something. They've both won goal of the season. They've both won the Premier League 5 times, but not the same 5 seasons.
Yep.
Would anyone like to have a guess on which 2 players have won the League Cup the most times?
I've got David Silva
Okay.
down, and I've got Sergio Aguero down.
One of those is correct.
What's your guess?
Jesus Navas.
No.
Damn it.
Sergio Aguero, 6 times. He won it. Another player. What other clues can I give you? I don't want to give it away by just saying his position. Very difficult player to replace. You know, the whole Aguero, we cannot replace him type thing. This player as well, although they did a brilliant job with a player who's now there.
Yaya
in his
Toure?
position. You're closer.
Fernandinho.
Fernandinho. There you go. I didn't want to kind of give it away. Fernandinho won the UEFA Cup with Shakhtar Donetsk in 2009. Aguero won it with Atletico Madrid in 2010, which you said.
Yeah.
Fernandinho won the Copa America with Brazil in 2019. Aguero won it with Argentina in 2021. Aguero, obviously, that goal in 2012 won Man City's goal of the season. A goal I totally forgot about. Fernandinho won it for his strike versus Stoke in the 17-18 season. The season where they
Was
scored.
that the 7-0 or something?
Yeah, I think it was like the 5th goal of that game, and they scored like 100 and something goals that season, and that was the one because he just absolutely levers it into the top corner.
Was it good?
It was a good one. There you go. So there's my League Cup one. I'll try and think of another one for Thursday. How do you want to do this, Acca, this week?
Shall we? Sorry to
I
interrupt
think
you,
we can
Duff,
do 2 doubles. That's what I was going to suggest, but I'm open to suggestions.
I was going to say take a break while we figure out what the heck.
Yeah,
we're
let's
gonna
have a quick little break, and we'll work it out when we're back. I like the look of doing 2 doubles. A Tuesday double and a Wednesday double.
The double-double.
Immediately appeals to me in this
Double-double.
one, in how we tackle this.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the best way forward. It was going to be what, Mansfield and
What were the teams?
Wickham?
We were in agreement on Mansfield. We were loosely all then in agreement on Wickham.
Yeah.
Right. And then it was that 3rd/4th teams that we were and are in. So if we put Mansfield and Wickham, the double's around 5-2 for the Tuesday, right? Wednesday, we all liked Arsenal. Is
Yeah.
that correct? And then
It's Everton, wasn't it?
Everton. Are we happy putting Everton in? Round 7-2, that double.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then if you have all four, I hate doing multi-day Accas, but if you wanted to do that, you could get it around 14s for all four selections. I mean, we've mentioned the other ones there as well. I quite like that. If we're on an agreement as the official way to go about the midweek Accas with a limited fixture list.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the way forward. And yeah, we'll get those up price boosted, and hopefully, all the other selections that we mentioned, we'll put them in a bet slip link as well. So if you did want to get involved and build your own,
Maybe we could
treble
build
and
our
have
own
them all
ones.
come in there.
Jimmy's treble, Jake's treble,
Yeah,
Tom's treble. We could do it this way. We'll work it out.
Like
We'll work it out. Don't worry.
Or Asda.
build your own.
I thought I was going to get one of them yesterday, and I didn't at last minute.
Do they?
I know, they are brilliant, aren't they? Right, that's that then. That's decided. Our Tuesday double, I keep saying treble. Tuesday double, we're going to take Mansfield to beat Port Vale, and we're going to take Wickham to beat Cambridge. On Wednesday, the double, we're going to have Arsenal for an away win at West Ham, and Everton to beat Burnley in those two Carabao Cup fixtures. As ever, remember, keep it fun. Never bet more than you can afford, and please gamble responsibly. And make sure you get in touch with us on social media as well. I'd really like to see people's comments on this. What trebles, fourfolds, fivefold, whatever they're making as well out of these selections and the games that we've discussed. Search Sporting Life Football. You'll be able to find us that way, of course, in the YouTube comments as well. And head over to sportinglife.com/football to find the link to back those at enhanced prices, however we work out to do it in the end. And if you haven't already, please follow us and rate us on iTunes, Spotify, or the cliched chosen podcast provider. We'll be back on Thursday.